Madwa, Panyua, Jerusalem, stand up face Jerusalem. Blessing of the Sabbath. Barakatha Yahweh, Basham Yahweh, Asherah, Nathan Lanawe, Hashabbat, Bashalawam, the water, Amen. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai that gives to us the Sabbath in peace. Thank you, so be it. The Alima Asherai and Lachad, Psalms 121. Anya Harayam Ayim Ye Oh Harayam Ayan Yabawa Azariah Yabawa Maya Hawa Shashai Shemayim Warataza La Yanathan Lamawat Ragalia Yela Yanawam Shashomarka Hanad La Yanawam Wala Yashan Shashomar Yashrile Yahweh Shamaria Yahweh Tazalia Ayub Yad Yim Yad Yawamam Hashamash La Hakaya Wayarak La Balayala Yahweh Yashamaria Makab Rai Yashama Napashya Yahweh Yashama Hawalakya Wabawa Ayah my fair wa aid I will Basham Yahweh the water man.
Psalm 121. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall not slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and in Christ. Amen.
Amen. Shemaiah Sharala, hear, O Israel. Shemaiah Sharala, Yahweh, Allahaynawe, Yahweh, Achet. Shemaiah Sharala, Yahweh, Allahaynawe, Yahweh, Achet. Shemaiah Sharala, Yahweh, Allahaynawe, Yahweh, Achet.
Deuteronomy 6 and 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Amen.
Amen. Tapala Yahweh, the Lord's Prayer. Abinawe Shabbat Shemayim Kodash Haye Shamke Yahweh Malakwavke Thaba'a Rotazawanke Haye Aisha Barataza Kaba Shemayim Lathananawe Lakham Yawam Zad Wasalak Lanawe Kabawat Nawe Kasalak nawe, kabawap yanawe, wala abiyar nawe, oh nasayawan above, hawashai nawe, marad, kaye lake, hamalakwap, wa ale, wa thaparat, wa walam, maman.
Matthew 6 and 9. After this manner therefore pray, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. Ha'ai Shara Matazawa, the Ten Commandments. La'at,
La'at,
Yahayat,
Yahayat,
Lakat,
Lakat,
Alahayim,
Alahayim,
Akharim,
Akarim,
Alpanyat,
Alpanyat,
La'at,
La'at,
Thaishat,
Taishat,
Lakat,
Lakat,
Pasod, Wala'at,
Wala'at,
Thaibadam,
Raibadam,
La'at,
La'at,
Talakwaka,
Talakwaka,
Shamwab,
Shamwa,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Alahayakab,
Alahayim,
Lashawab,
Lashawah,
Zakar,
Zakar,
Ath,
At,
Hayawam,
Ayawam,
Hashabat,
Ashabat,
La Kodashwa,
Lakadashwa,
Kabad,
Shabbat,
Abiyakab,
Abakar,
Wa Amakab,
Amakar,
La'at,
La'at,
Taratazak,
Taratazak,
La'at,
La'at,
Tana'at,
Tana'at,
La'at,
La'at,
Taganab,
Taganah,
La'at,
La'at,
Tha'inad,
Tainah,
Shakur,
Shapor,
La'at,
La'at,
Thachamad,
Tachaman,
Kal,
Kad,
Asherat,
Asherah,
Lara'ikab,
Lara'ika.
Amen.
Exodus 22. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold it guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and holiday. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, thou shalt not covet nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Amen.
Amen. Yeshabwa, be seated. Barakatu Yahweh by Shimi Hawashai, Asherat Nanao, Par Yagapin Tuara Aman. La Yahweh by Shimi Hawashai, Af Yasher Al. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai that gives to us the fruit of the vine. Thank you, so be it to Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai with Israel. upon you, all Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. Barakatha Yahweh, Hagadol, Rakawam, Abiyar, Wanawa'ah, Al Yawan, Malak, Sho, Shemayim, Waratazah, Wakol, Dabarium, Chayayim, Wagam, Hamashiach, Mayahawa, Arawanawa, Ahabnawa, Hapala, Yawaitazah, Yahawasha, Zakarnawa, Yahweh, Baratazawan, Ainka, Yasha'ala, Izarnawa, Bana, Wasap, Yasha'ala, O, Nanawa, Yamyan, Aitha, Kayawamyam, Makwadam, Babakwasha, Shalak, Maika'ala, Watazwadak, Alahayam, La, Magunnawa, Raparnawa, Washamar, Alnawa, Baikor, Shalak, Harocha, Shal, Yahawashai, Lanawa, Lalamadnawa, Rabiam, Kakama, Thabawana, Wada'ith, Shal, Dabarka, Basham, Yahawashai, Thawada, Thamyad, Waiwalam, Aman. English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the great, merciful, mighty, terrible, most high in power, King of heaven and earth and all things living, and also the anointed from Yahweh, our Lord, our friend, the wonderful counselor, Yahweh Shai. Remember us, Yahweh, favorably, your people Israel. Help us build and gather Israel, most high, we beg you, right now, like the days of old. Please send Michael and the righteous powers to protect us, heal us, and watch over us. Mainly send the spirit of Yahweh Shai to us, to teach us much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of thy word. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, always and forever, so be it. Repeat the Hebrew only. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai that gives to us the law. Barakatha Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Nathan Lanawa, HaThawarat. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai that gives to us light to see. Barakatha Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Nathan Lanawa, Awar, Lara Awath. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai that gives to us the ram's horn to call the people. Barakatha Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Nathan Lanawa, Karan, Ha'ayah, Lakorah, Ha'aim. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai that gives to us the olive oil to anoint Israel. Barakatha Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Nathan Lanawa, Hasheman, Zayef, Lamashak, Yasha'ala, Yeshabwa, you see that. Okay, so Shalom Yasharella.
Shalom.
All right, so shalom everybody here in Philly. Shalom everybody watching us on live stream, and shalom everyone listening in on teleconference. Welcome to Hayah Shalakanas, or the Congregation of Israel, where we teach that so-called Black, Latin, and Native Americans are actually the 12 tribes of Israel, that we fall into a lower state as a people, politically, economically, even religiously, because we broke the laws of God found in the Bible, given to us by Moses, and that we come out of this lower state that we fall into by turning back to these commandments that we broke by following Jesus Christ as our example, who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth. Today, we keep the Sabbath holy, which is one way we do that. And as regularly scheduled, we go through a Sabbath reading. Today's Sabbath reading is going to be Matthew chapter 14 and chapter 15, continuing on in the New Testament and the Gospels. Matthew chapter 14 and 15 is going to be our reading for today. So my name's Nabiab Zerubbabel. I'll be doing the service today. All praise to the Most High, in the name of the Son, by way of the Holy Spirit. For your records, today is, according to the Gregorian calendar, March 10th, 2018. Almost said 17. March 10th, 2018, and according to our calendar, it would be the 12th month and the 24th day. Once again, the 12th month and the 24th day. So for all those that are astute, we begin with reading the chapter in the Hebrew. So we'll begin with Matthew chapter 14 in the Hebrew, or as we say, Ba'abarya Ra'ash, just means in the Hebrew first, or in the Hebrew at the top. So now this is Matthew chapter 14 and verse 1. It starts with Ba'if. Is that what you have? Yalkan, is that what you have? Ba'if? Okay, good. 14, 15. All right, so it reads, Ba'if Ahaya Shemai Hawaradwas Shar Rabbi Hamada Ya Hama Dayana Af Shema Yahushai. 2. Waya Amar O Na'ayyawa Za Hawa'a Yachanan Hamata Hamata Bayo. That's funny. Wa Hawa'a Kwam Man Salak Hamath Yam Ayo Kan Hagaba Warwath Ha'ilwath Bawa. 3. Kaya Hawa Radwas Thapash Af Yawakanan Waya Sarawa Waya Shaya Mawa Babayef Hasahar Bagalo Hawara Wadya Shaf Payalap Was Akiwa. 4. Kaya Yawakanan Amar Yawa La'a Nakawan Hayawatha Laka La Asha. 5. Wayaba Kwash, Hama Yathwa, Ak, Yara, Ath, La'a, Nakawan, oh, sorry, Hahamawan, Kaya, La Nabaya, Kashabwa, Athwa. 6. Let me know if I read the same line twice by accident, okay? It says 6. Wa Yahaya, Bayawam, Bayawam, Haladath, Hawa Radwas, Watha Raquad, Bath, Hawa Wadya, Salak, Hawa Wadya, Bath, Wakam, Watha Tab, Salak, Wathaya Tab, Ba'ayanya, Hawa Radwas. 7. Waya Shabai Laha, Waya Amar Ma, Thasha'o, Na Pashka, Wa Athan Laka. 8. Wa Ma, Shema Af, Hadabarium, Bapa Yaha, Watha Sha'o, La Amar, Thana, Leya, Pa, Bakwa'ai Ra, Af, Ra'ash, Yawachanan, Hama Taba'o. 9. Where Aitazab, Malak, Ak, Ba'aib Hor, Hashaba Wa'ai, Wahama Sabium, Aimwa, Tazawa, Lathath, Laha. 10. Waya Shalak, Waya Shah, Af, Ra'ash, Yawchanan, Ma'alyawa, Babayath, Ha Sahar. 11. Wa Yabaya'awa, Af, Ra'ashwa, Bakwa Ira, Waya Thunwa, Lana Ira, Wa Thabaya'a, Wa O Ama. 12. Waya Gashwa, Thala Ma Yadyawa, Waya Shawa Ath, Gawayathwa, Waya Kwa Bar, Waha, Waya Lakwa, Waya Gayadwa, La Yahawashai. 13. Wa Yahaya, Kashemaiwa, Ath, Za'ath, Wayasar, Masham, Ba'anyaha, O, Makwam, Karaba, Labadad, Waya Shemaiwa, Hamawa'an, Hama, Hamawan, Ha'ain, Waya Lakwa, Akaryawa, Baragol, Yaham, Man, Ha'aryam. 14. Waya Taza, Yahawashai, Waya Ra'ab, Hamawan, Aim, Rab, Waya Hamwa, Ma'ainyawa, Ayo Yaham, Waya Rapa, Af, Hakalashim, Asherah, Baham. 15. Wa Yahya, Lapanwath, Irab, Waya Gashwa, Olyawa, Salamayad Yawa, Waya Amawa, Hamakwawam, Karab, Wa Gum, Nata, Hayawam, Hashalakha, Af, Hamawan, Ha'aim, Wa, Waya Lakwa, O, Hakaparium, La Quanwath, Laham, Akol, 16. Wayama, Ol Yaham, Ayanam, Tazara Yak Yam, Lala Kaf, Funwa, Latham, Laham, La Ko, 17. Wayamarwa, Ol Yawa, Ayan, Lanawa, Ha Kaya Kamashath, Kakarwath, Wacham, Wa Shanya, Dagyam. 18. Wayama, Habaya Awam, Olya, Laham, so like Halam. 19. Wayatazawa, Af, Ha'ain, La Shabbath, Ayo, Hadasha, Wahakwak, Af, Kamashath, Kakarwath, Halacham, Wa'af, Shanya, Hadagyam, Wayasha, Iwanyawa, Hashama, Shama Yam, Ya Barak, Waya Paras, Ya Hawa Fun Ath Halacham, Latha Lama Yad Yam, Waha Thala Mayadyam, Waha Thala Mayadyam, Nathano, La'ain, 20. Waya Kowa, Kalam, Waya Shabawa, Waya Shashawa, Man, Apatha Wathyam, Hanawatharium, Shunyam, Aishara, Solyam, Malayam. 21. Kolyam, Hayawa, Kakama Shath, Alapya, Ayash, Malabad, Hanashim, Wahatap. 22. What is that? Waya Ataza? Can't read the last two letters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Waya Ataza, Yahawashai, Bathalama Yad Yawa, Lara Dath, Ba'ana Ya, La'Ibar, La'Panyawa, O, Ibar, Hayam, Aid, Asherah, Yashalach, Ath, Ha'ain, 23. Wa'akharya, Shalakwa, Ath, Ha'ain, Ayla, Hahara, Badad, Lahathapalo, Wa Yahya, Arab, Wahawa'a, Labadwa, Shema. 24. wa ana ya ha halaka bathawak haya salak hayam wa tarap man ha goyam Kya roja lanada select lana gada 25 wa yahya ba'a shamarath hara ba yai yath wa haba'a o yawam lost my spot o yaham Yahawashai. Okay. Mathala Mathahalak Ayo Hanya Hayam 26. Wahalama Yadyam Bara Atham Watwa Matha Halak Ayo Hanya Hayam Naba Holwa La Amar Mara'a Roka Hawa'a Wahataza Aikwa Ma'akad 27. Where the bar Yahawashai Hatham Al Yaham Kwa Kwazakwa Kaya Anya Hawa'a O Sayarawa 28. Waha'ain Katarwas Waya Amar Oyawa Fata Hawa'a Adanya Tazawa Na Kaya Aba Oyaka Ayo Ha Mayam 29. Waya Mar Bawa'a Waya Rad Katarwas Man Ha Anaya Waya Ha Lak Ayo Hamayam Labawa'a O Yahawashai 30. Wa Yahaya Kara Afwa Ath Rocha Kaya Ka Kazakha Haya'a Wa Yayara Wa Yakho La Tabai Wa Ya Tazaik La Mar Danya Hawa Shiyai Niya 31. Wayamahar Yahawashai La Shalak Ath Yadwa Waya Uzak Bawa Waya Amar Alyawa Patan Ha'ama 1, rather Ha'ama Wana Lama Khalak Labka 32. Hum Iowa O Ha'anaya Wa Haroka Shakaka 33. Wayanasha Ha'anaya Nagashwa Waya Shath Kowa Lawa La Amar Ba Amath Bun Alahayam 34. Where I Barwa Ath Ayam Waya Bawa Salat Waya Ba'awa Wa Ratza Ga Naya Sar 35. Waya Kayawa Afwa Anashya Amakwa Wam Hahawa Waha Shalakwa O Ko Sabayab Wath Yaham Wayaba Wayaba Wa Olyawa Afko Kawolium 36 Waya Bakwash Wa Mamanwa Kaya Yagaiwa Rak Bataza Batazayat Tazayaf Bagadwa Wako Hana Gai Yam Nawa Shai Wa. Okay. So now this is Matthew chapter 14 in the English now. So Matthew chapter 14 in verse 1. So now we're going to do some history. During the time that this is taking place, we know that the Herods, which you do history on them, you find out that they're Idumeans. You read that, you're looking in any Zondervan or any Bible dictionary. And the Idumeans, that's just another rendering for Edom or Edomites, right? Showing you that the Romans are Edomites, just like we saw even with Haman during the time of the Purim. We read about Haman being an Agagite according to our nationality, but we see that the Persian king, he acknowledged him as a Macedonian. You know, Alexander came out of Macedon, right? Their famous first ruler, right? To rule over the earth. So we'll see how they'll have certain subnames based on, you know, region that they were in and name they took on based on the people that they conquered. You'll still see that connection to, in the scriptures, you see that connection to what their nationality is according to the Most High, regardless of what name they go by now or what name they give anybody that they conquer.
Yeah. With Alexander the Macedonian, they the Alexander the Great, and they love him so much. They have many movies on
it. And we were talking about last week, right? Yeah. We watched that. What was it? That school report that those high schoolers did, comparing him to Julius Caesar. Yeah, because he's their first, you know, big time hero. Even though the prophecy going into the prophecy that Daniel spoke about, you know, their rise to power, and even the vision that Ezra's had as well, going into how they were ruled during the Roman times as well. So we saw their rise, and we saw the different animals that were shown in the vision. Daniel saw Alexander specifically as a rough he-goat. Ezra saw their empire going forward as an eagle, right? A red eagle with feathers, right? So these things matter, right? The fact that they use these particular animals for their government, because it tells you in Obadiah that they would exalt themselves as the eagle. Well, the Greeks used the eagle, the Romans used the eagle, right? The British, the Germans. Yeah. And of course, we see here in America, what do you see? The eagle. You go to the U.S. Postal Service, what do you see there? The eagle, right? And I always, I always quote the what was it? The guy used to be the the Attorney General under Bush, Baby Bush, not Daddy Bush. He used to sing that song, "Let the Eagles Soar," and he's like serious as he's singing it. I said, "Wow." Yeah. Let the eagle soar. Yeah, not for long though. Not that eagle.
Hitler used the eagle.
Yeah. So Herods, the Herods, they come from that same line, that same family of Edomites. Just a different branch. You got different ones. Because remember, during this time, this is not Herod the Great, right? He was like the first main patriarch, but then you had his sons. We're going to read about now when we read about this Herod the Tetrarch, along with Philip, his brother. Moab? According to some, yeah.
And he had a lot of they were trying to get to him, but he had a lot of, you know, makeups. play his part, you know.
Yeah, because what they say is that his given name was Adolf Schicklgruber, right? You have other people that say he was actually a Rothschild going under a different name.
Mm-hmm.
That his mother was you know she conceived, but with one of these Rothschild guys back then. But let Esau create his boogeyman to get to get his way.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say he wasn't a wicked dude, but a lot of times they'll use that to blow things out of proportion so they can have their way. They'll use different world events and crises, either if they're the Most High directly or if it's something that they got going on, they'll use those to further whatever their goals are,
Mm-hmm.
as they did with him. But let's read Matthew 14. Let's start from verse 1. It says, at that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard of the fame of Jesus, right? Because it was actually four of them that ruled, like that came after Herod the Great, who was the Herod that was in power when Christ was born. You see that Tetrarch just means the like one of four, so to speak.
These are different names of Herod.
Right. Just like you'll see in history, every Alexander isn't the same, right? You have to specify which Alexander you're talking about.
Easy.
Even with our people, you have many names that come up time and time again, but it's not always the same. Yahushua, for example, or Jesus, or Joshua, or the same Simon, or other popular names.
Mm-hmm.
Reading on in verse 2, and said unto his servants, this is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. Right? So he's thinking that what? This is John the Baptist risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It says in verse 3, for Herod had laid hold on John and bound him and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife. Right? So now check this out. It says he had laid held on John and bound him and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, which was his brother Philip's wife. But now what was going on with Herodias, who was technically his sister-in-law, right? So she was married to his brother Philip. Verse 4. No, this is talking about Herod's brother, Herod's sister-in-law. Her name is Herodias. It's like, I guess, a feminine rendering for the name Herod. It says, for John said unto him, it is not lawful for thee to have her. And when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude because they counted him as a prophet. So you knew how the Jews would respond after arresting him. If they went further and put him to death, they would cause an uproar underneath his little piece of the government that the Romans controlled of our people. Because he said the people knew or perceived him to be a prophet, John the Baptist. But you see, John the Baptist, he didn't respect persons, right? He didn't care. Oh, okay, he's this man in authority that's of the Romans. He saw that what they had going on was philandering, right, or adultery, because Herod was with his brother Philip's wife, and they were cool with that. I don't think Philip knew. Doesn't really say, but John, caught with what was going on and told him the truth. Yo, you can't be doing that. That's wicked, right?
Told the truth, and that's why they didn't like that.
Right. And we're going to read into what the machination or little device was set up that Philip's wife set up against John because she was, he was cramping her style, I guess. But it's like.
So when he told on Herod by Philip, Herod he's going with his wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he told on him, and Philip's wife, she wanted commanded him to kill him.
We didn't get there yet. At this point, he's just arrested. So, let's read on in verse 6.
Okay.
It says, but when Herod's birthday, it's the same as Herod the Tetrarch in the beginning. Mm-hmm. But when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias, remember Herodias is Philip's wife, right, the one who's sleeping around with his brother, right? With Herod, the tetrarch,
I mean, with Herod, yeah.
because she's already with Philip.
Right.
So now here's what the plan that she set up. She had her daughter dance before them, and it pleased Herod, right? So she did a dance at some little gathering that they had, right? It says in verse 7, whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. And she, being instructed of her mother, said, give me here John Baptist's head in a charger. Right? So she asked for John the Baptist's head. So now you see what happened here, right? He let down his defenses, right? He just thought, oh, okay, it's just a nice, gathering. She did a nice little dance. And then now, as a ruler, right? If you put something out there like that, right, I'll give you whatever you ask, And we saw in Ahasuerus and Esther, to the half of the kingdom, right? If you put that out there as a ruler, someone with authority, right? Even the authority of what the Romans called imperium, which means power over life and death, like in a gladiator arena or like some sort of court. That's where you'll see with those movies, with the different gladiator movies, you'll see them either do thumbs up or the thumbs down, right? That's that Roman ruler exercising his imperium. That's what they call it. Anyway, so he had this authority. Yeah, because in verse 9 it says, and the king was very sorry. Nevertheless, for the oath's sake, and them which sat with him at meat, he commanded it to be given her. Right? He couldn't go against his word, but at the same time, he had no qualms against John the Baptist. John the Baptist only told him the truth. Okay. So it's kind of weird what we'll see with the Esau, who we know is our enemy. But you'll find certain of them, even in authority, will have a certain admiration towards us. Why would he start? And he was doing the full fight. Why did he do it? Because it's wicked. It's off. You're supposed to do that.
Well, everybody was dealing with Philip's wife. But John, he told on him, and he became. So he opened up his eyes, let him know that Philip on his case, or did Philip know, or what?
That's what I said earlier. It doesn't really say. But all we know is that he spoke to him about it and said, you can't do that. And it's something that clearly Herodias didn't like. Right? She still wanted to be with Philip, but then I guess fool around with Herod. So in verse 9 it says, and the king was sorry. Nevertheless, for the oath's sake, and them which sat with him at meat, he commanded it to be given her. And he sent and beheaded John in the prison. So he cut off our brother John the Baptist's head. Right? So we see, John the Baptist here, we know when he came before as Elias, right? Or Elijah in times past, he was caught up, right, into the chariot. Here we see now he died a martyr's death, if you will, right? Because he spoke the truth, right? He wasn't, tap dancing or tippy toeing, saying, it's okay if you do that, like some of our other people in high position may do act like that. I'm sure he had an idea, when the death dealer comes, you know what he comes for.
I mean, I guess it's supposed to be. What do you think? Herod going to react to it?
Say what?
I thought John the Baptist, when he told Herod about Philip's wife, that Philip didn't know, but he said, he told him that he knew, right?
Mm-hmm.
But somehow he found out that he was sleeping with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he maybe he didn't think that would come to nothing. And he think the king would just open up his eyes and let him know just in case. That Philip could do nothing anyway, could he?
Well, I'm sure he could do something. Well, I'm sure him and his brother could, I guess, resolve it however they will resolve it. Esau, they might have protocols in place, but when feelings get, roused up, he could have plotted against them. It's tough to say how they could have settled that. A couple different ways they could have settled that. What? Herod the Tetrarch.
Oh, that was his brother?
Let me go back to verse 1. Actually, verse 3. Matthew 14:3. Read that.
So Herod had laid hold on John, bound him and put him in prison. For Herod's sake, his brother Philip's wife.
So he bound him and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife. See that?
Yeah.
So it shows you his brother is Philip, and that his brother Philip's wife is Herodias.
Right.
I just want to read something very quickly.
Okay.
Luke chapter 13, verse 31.
Is this linked with anything in particular? Or?
Yeah, it linked with all this, where John the Baptist is telling, getting at his brother's wife. Right? So Luke 13, verse 31. The same day they came certain of the Pharisees, saying unto him, Get thee out and depart hence, for Herod will kill thee. And verse 32 says, And he said unto them, Go ye and tell that fox, Behold, I cast out devils, and I do cures today and tomorrow, and the third day I shall be perfected. He said, go ye and tell that fox. So, regardless of who the person is, when, like I say, yeah, John the Baptist said, he told them,
Right.
but the Pharisees, whatever, said, go tell that fox. You can go ahead and report to him,
Mm-hmm.
Like for Isaiah 13, it says, shake their hand, and then you run to the nobles.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of whatever we are there teaching, and whoever, we say this and that, whatever leader there is, we would say according to the scriptures, blah 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 blah. And they looking at what we do as we teaching out there, and they go and they try to read certain things and say, oh yeah, these guys are saying on the street, can you get these guys off the street because they're teaching against us, against our authority, things like that. But it's like, according to the law, we have free speech, freedom of religion and free speech, and we can go out there and teach.
Okay.
You like that already?
No, because he said, yeah, he's called Herod. He can't have his brother's wife.
Yeah, what you said is important. Here's the law that we're talking about. Before we get that, though, just write this down as a link. For this whole section 1 to 12, you can read this same story in Mark chapter 6. We're not going to go there. Just write it down in your notes. But with the Gospels, oftentimes another gospel will tell the same story and give similar details, and other times touch on details that may not be in this particular gospel. So Mark chapter 6, from 14, you can go all the way down to about 29. Mm-hmm. And we go through Mark, we'll get to this story again and then revisit it, and then even compare it, cross-reference it to what we read in Matthew. So Mark 6, 14 down, all the way down to about 29 goes into this history as well. But what happened concerning John the Baptist. And the law that I wanted to read It just goes into not respecting persons in judgment, whether it be a figure of authority in Israel, or even when it comes to the heathen that have us captive, right? Because we have the wisdom of the Most High, which tells us that even when we go into captivity, it's the Most High that's pulling the strings. He's the one that has built up a nation, and he brings down a nation, right? He's one that picks up a nation and puts them in authority over us during different captivities. Where you'll see our forefathers and foremothers of old, right? That they would always be mindful of that and always seek the Lord for guidance for anything they may say or do towards the king. Not to say it was a easy thing to do, because at any given time, whoever's got the authority, it's like you have to be careful, because if you rub that authority figure the wrong way with things you say or do, that could be your life. It's known, just like anybody who has a authority. It's always like you want to be careful, deal with that person who's in authority.
He should be careful when he's saying, he knew that he was the king, and he still ran and told him.
But that's still what he did. Still was wise. It was foolish of them to kill him for that cause. That's not really grounds for killing him, man.
That's not really ground.
No. So that's why we always say, as long as we do the right thing in righteousness, and if we live to our old age, we'll be blessed, right? And if such a circumstance happens where we end up being, rounded up for righteousness' sake, put to death for righteousness' sake, if it comes to that, in this lifetime, that you get an even better resurrection. So it's a win or win some more for us, regardless of what the wicked do. If they hear our judgment and just keep their peace, or if they hear our judgment and they want to stand on us, it just makes it even worse for them in the end. So don't look at John the Baptist as far as he messed up. No, he did the right thing. It was them that did the wrong thing.
Well, I mean, you meet John the Baptist, he found out, even though he found out, people that he should tell the king about somebody else.
No, I don't think you get it. He's talking about him being with his brother's wife. You get it? I don't think you understand. He's saying you shouldn't be sleeping around with your brother's wife. You know that's your brother's wife. Why are you with her?
Oh, that's what he told her about.
Yeah, and he didn't buck up against it because he's like, you got me. You're right. But it was her that didn't like him getting into it. That's where she set him up. I'm not sure if that's clicking or not.
So here his brother name was Philip, right?
Right.
And Philip, Herod was Philip's wife. And Herod, she sleeping with Herod too. King.
Right, Herodias, right, it was Philip's wife. Right.
And John the Baptist went and told him.
Not told on him, told him. He told him directly. He wasn't like going, hey, look what he's doing. No, he came to him man to man when you read the story. Not, look what he's doing. No, he told him.
You told Herod?
Yes.
To his face.
I know you're sleeping with your brother's wife, huh?
We're talking about John the Baptist here. Remember, that's Elias or Elijah. You go back to Elijah's story. He wasn't sparing for rulers either. Remember, he actually anointed kings, and he was just and at that time a mere prophet. Right. Remember, he anointed the king of Syria. Mm-hmm. What's his name? I think Hadrezar or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he was just speaking to the king in general that he knew that he's sleeping with his brother's wife.
And that you shouldn't do it.
And told him.
This is why we always talk about righteousness exalteth a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Even though we as Israel given the law, everyone's supposed to be following it, really, in the end. And if like they say, you see something, say something. But he did. That's why I said he's justified. They're the ones that are going to be condemned for that.
Okay, I got another. If he told Herod, how did Herodias find out about that?
Well, you kind of get from the story that either he told her or someone else, maybe one of the people in the, I guess, in the court, heard their conversation.
Oh,
But I would probably say that Herod himself probably told him. I could see Herod himself telling, Herod himself, the tetrarch, telling Herodias, like, hey, John knows. He told me that we shouldn't be, messing around. I mean, you think about it, he's actually he's actually helping, right? Right there. That's some family drama right there, right? I suppose he's seeing your brother's nakedness like that, right? That's his way. That's his way nakedness. Not that's like you lifting up your brother's skirt.
mhm.
We did that, and we got judged for that, right?
Mm.
So now this is Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 17. Just a good example of what we see John the Baptist exercising here, and that we just make sure that, while we could, we use our words and use them and season them with salt, at the same time, the truth has to come out. Just like
Chapter 1 and what?
17. Just like we see with the prophets of old, like we go back to like David's time, you had like his prophet Nathan, or even his general Joab. They would tell certain stories that kind of have like a scenario that they would have, like we were talking about in the class last night about how there was a wise woman from Tekoa that came to the king with a story about being a widow and her sons and inheritance and things like that. And then David was able to put two and two together, and he was like, "Did Joab put you up to this?" Because it was concerning his son Absalom and how they had a falling out. Or even before that, when he committed adultery with Bathsheba, Nathan told him a story about, I think two farmers, and one had, one ewe lamb, and the other had plenty, and then he slew that other, took out that other farmer, and then took his one ewe lamb from him. David said, "Yes, that man should be should be judged and brought, and put to death." And then Nathan was like, "That man is you." And that's when, David was just like, "Damn." He came clean and said, "I've sinned before the Lord." So there's different ways to present the truth. Right? There's artful ways of doing it, but nonetheless, you got to tell the truth.
He's the king, He could, only as a prophet, he's the king. You can have his head cut off.
Yeah.
Like with Jeremiah, put him in the stocks.
Yeah, because if the king isn't willing to, if the king isn't righteous and humble and willing to listen, yeah, absolutely, it can go down that way. That's how it is. We deal with authority, whether it's our people or any people. That's why the law says this, Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 17. It reads, "Ye shall not respect persons in judgment. Ye shall hear the small as well as the great. Ye shall not be afraid of the face of man. For the judgment is God's. And the cause it is too hard for you, bring it unto me, and I will hear it." This is the Most High telling us how to deal with each other concerning our own government. So this holds for other governments too, right? To not fear the face of man, to not respect persons, right? And for folks who aren't familiar, respect persons just means if you don't, if it's understand, or if you need help with which way to go in the judgment. But if it's clear, okay, this person did wrong, it shouldn't matter if they're a king on high, or if they got money, if they're famous, right? You see how people get caught up with this in this time when it comes to our celebrities, right? We say, "Oh, free R. Kelly, free Michael, free Meek Mill." Not to say that they aren't innocent, but automatically they jump to their favor because they like their music. That's not righteous, right? It should be judged according to either the right or the wrong that they did, but according to what standard? We don't even deal with the law like that anymore. So oftentimes, if we do judge, it's according to whatever we think is right and wrong, whatever Esau told us is right and wrong. Yeah, pretty much. And like the scriptures tell us, everyone is deceived by their own vain opinion. Right? It's like there's a saying in the world, opinions are like something else. Everybody's got one, Let's get beyond opinion. Let's get to facts, judgment. What did the Most High say? That's what matters.
Yeah. I'm talking about brutality. They want to put you all the people, all the women that they say that he put it at the adultery with. So, they want to do that down in March. In the March, put them all up on the judge want to put them all up on not prosecution, but the prosecution want to put them all up here and hear what they got to say.
Okay, let's talk more about that during the break. You're making a connection to what we're talking about now, or you're just bringing it up?
Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, I see the connection there as far as him being a celebrity, and people respect his person too, because he's Bill Cosby, you know. Because you grew up watching the shows, comedy shows, and he's got all this money. Right? So that's where it's like the scriptures say we're supposed to make a diligent search and make sure the thing is certain that such evil is wrought among you. Right? Don't just go off of, okay, he's got fame, this, that, and the third. Actually do the research, get evidence, get a second, third witness to these different events that take place before you say innocent or before you say guilty. That's what respect of persons is all about. Getting around that and getting to what actually happened and not showing favor because, like I said, you got fame or you got fortune.
Right.
Yeah, can I? Hold on 1 second. He had his hand up.
Fortune.
Pathak, he had his hand up. 1 second.
Yeah, just like Susanna, with young Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not just condemn her like that.
Yeah.
You know, you have to cross-examine and see this thing is true or not.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Young Daniel.
Mm-hmm. His entrance onto the scene.
And they use that today.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Maybe most of the cases, some cases they probably don't, but they use that.
Right. They call witnesses to the witness stand. Yeah. Because they got to see if the stories match up. Otherwise, one person can just tell a story about somebody, right? And they just take their word for it. That's why a lot of our brothers over the centuries here in America got hung. Because it was because of one so-called white woman saying he did this, he did that. They didn't get second or third witnesses. They went with her word, strung them up, hung them, killed them, or tortured them some other way.
One more. And just because
Respected her person.
Like Jezebel used the king ring and everything and sign something and say that this man did this and they executed him.
Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah. Pathak, what were you saying before we continue? All right. So back in Matthew 14, let's continue on. Hey, Shalom, Shah Shabbat.
Shalom, Kahan. Shalom, Israel.
Uh-oh. Are we disconnected? Or going on?
Navia.
Yeah.
All right. For Luke 13, 31 and 32, you connected that with Mark 6, 14 through 29.
I think Yalkanan was just pulling it just to deal with Herod. This same Herod. So you can connect it with the whole section we read, 1 to 12. It's in verse 13.
So 13, 31 and 32. That's the verse for what? Verse 3?
No, it links he linked it with the whole section, the whole from 1 all the way down to 12.
All right, I just wanted to make sure. So Deuteronomy 1:17, that's basically just a side note for what as far as what you were explaining, as far as having special persons and stuff like that.
Right.
Right.
If you want, you could link it with verse 4 specifically if you want to. But the whole story goes into the judgment that came down upon him, but you can link it with verse 4 because it says that he said that he shouldn't have her. Because clearly she's married to his brother. And we know according to our law, you can't uncover the nakedness of your near kin, right? Even if it's an in-law, can't do it. It's like looking at your brother's nakedness. It's the same. It's considered the same thing because when man and woman come together, they become one flesh. That's why it reads that way in the law, where it says you uncover. Like remember when Reuben slept with his father's wife Bilhah? It was considered a sin unto Reuben, and his tribe felt that. It took many years for it to manifest itself, but the Most High didn't forget that. That's why they fell, fell during the times of the Seminole Wars, even though they were a mighty tribe. So these things matter.
Goes along with when Yahweh Shah said, whatever's under the dark will always come to light.
Yes, that's everything. Ayanabar. See, you can link that with 14 and 4 of Matthew if you want to do it specifically, the respect of persons. And that's the main law you go to about it, but there's many other scriptures and Proverbs in the New Testament that talk about respect of persons. But I just want to pull mainly Deuteronomy 1:17. We can see John exercising that, not fearing Herod's person. And it's so funny, brother, because we see how it works out. We might have experienced this ourselves, where there might be somebody who's famous or has authority, right? And you may be the one to do it, or you may know someone that does this, where they'll tell someone what they need to hear, regardless, right? And the fear you think that you might have from this authority figure, or this person who's famous or something, right? You would think that they will rise up against you. That's not always the case. Oftentimes, it's like they now see an ally in you. They want to hold you closer because it's like, yo, I can't trust anybody. Like everyone just tells me BS. Everyone's afraid of saying anything wrong to me because I'm wealthy or this. You actually tell me the truth. I want to talk to you more. So it's like it's actually the reverse happens sometimes, right? But you can kind of see this a little bit even with this Herod, where you see that it wasn't really in his heart to put him to death, right? And they might have been like, wow, you know what? John the Baptist, all these people, he's the one that actually told me the truth. I'm sure other folks may have known what was going on and just didn't say anything. It's Herod,
Yeah.
But John didn't hold back.
I respect the person much better that stops me and tells me the things that I'm doing wrong, regardless of the authority that he might have over that person. You're right, John. Right.
And that person, like I'm saying, that person in authority, they'll like protect you. It's weird. It's like I told this person, I told them off about their wrong, and it's like now I've got a friend. Kind of weird how that can play out sometimes.
Yeah, one more thing. Like for example, like Jonah didn't want to go. When he went, when he was compelled to go, he had no choice but to go. And he went to Nineveh. It was a big city, exceeding great city, a 3 days journey. And he began and said, cry 40 days and Nineveh shall be overthrown. So he went. And everybody, so the people of Nineveh believed God and proclaimed a fast and put on sackcloth from the greatest of them even to the least of them. So the greatest king, everybody coming on fast, repent.
Come.
And that's just one man.
So this is did you want to pull that verse about from great to small, or you're just referring to the story in general?
Let's read it very quickly. Jonah chapter 2 verse.
Nice and loud so folks on teleconference can hear.
Jonah chapter 2 verse 3. So Jonah arose and went unto Nineveh according to the word of the Lord. Now Nineveh was an exceeding great city of 3 days' journey, and Jonah began to enter into the city a day's journey, and he cried and said, Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. So the people of Nineveh believed God and proclaimed a fast and put on sackcloth from the greatest of them even to the least of them.
So Jonah 2:3 down to, where'd you stop?
5.
Okay. Jonah 2:3-5 to link with that section as well. Okay.
5.
So Jonah chapter 2:3-5. So let's continue on in Matthew 14 and verse 13. It says, when Jesus or Yahushua heard it, he departed thence by ship into a desert place apart. And the people that heard thereof, they followed him on foot out of the cities. So now Yahushua found out about what happened as far as John the Baptist being put to death. And it says he went to a far place that's apart, a desert place, like a wilderness. People heard about it, They followed him out of the cities because, his fame was noised abroad. People knew about, oh, he's the son of God. He's doing miracles. He's healing. He's doing this, right? Let's follow him, because it was hard doing Christ's ministry sometimes to get, just a moment of peace, of solitude. He had his disciples with him asking questions, right? And then, he was out there doing the work. You had many people that would come to him, as we're going to see in this story now that we're about to read.
So where they put John the Baptist's body at?
Doesn't say here.
After the children come to prison.
It just says that they buried it. Doesn't say where in verse 12. So reading on, it says, and when the people had heard thereof, they followed him on foot out of the cities, verse 14. And Yahushua went forth and saw a great multitude, and was moved with compassion toward them, and he healed their sick. So now he's using the spiritual gifts to heal the sick of this group of people at this time. Verse 15, and when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, this is a desert place, and the time is now past. Send a multitude away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves victuals. Right? So, they're out there all day. It's like you're busy doing work all day. It's just like, we need to sit down and get something to eat. And we can't do it out here. We got to go to the city, go back to the village, go to the market, get some grub, right? Sit down, break bread. Getting late. Verse 16, but Yahushua said unto them, they need not depart. Give ye them to eat. So Yahushua, he's always pushing his disciples to go on that next level. But, he was asking to do things. Sometimes it's like, okay, feed them. What does he mean? We're just, it's just us. We're out here in the wilderness. Like, how is that possible? Because, we're only dealing with what we can see. We're not dealing in that higher spiritual realm. But he's going to take them there.
A lot of people too.
Oh, we didn't get the amount yet. We're about to read it. It just says multitude so far. It says, and they said unto him, we have here but 5 loaves and 2 fishes. It was like, got this multitude. This is all we have. How shall we hear what you're saying? But how? We're going to find out. Verse 18, he said, bring them hither to me, referring to the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes. Okay. Verse 19, he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and took 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looked up to heaven. He blessed and brake and gave loaves to his disciples, and his disciples to the multitude. So he had them like a trickle down, like he distributed to them, and then from them they went to the crowd to deliver the food. It says in verse 20, and when they did all eat and were filled, they took up of the fragments that remained 12 baskets full. 12 baskets. I guess a basket for each disciple. Verse 21, and they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, beside women and children. So this is a lot of people, right? Like almost like a stadium, like a concert or something. As far as, number of people. And it just says 5,000 men. If you add the women and children, it was even more than that. Yeah. That's what 5 loaves and 2 fish. So I guess however they were doing it, it was like regenerated.
Regenerated itself and made more.
It kept reaching in the basket. It's like, oh my God, it's not running out. We just got more and more food.
Yeah. Accumulating more and more.
I know we make jokes about that. Like, that'd be nice, right? To have like something like that in your fridge. you could cut back on groceries.
But even they make something like corn.
What's it called?
Yeah, it's like a little thing.
It's like a basket. Oh, you're talking about a cornucopia?
Yeah, cornucopia. Yeah.
What about it?
Yeah, they're trying to make something like that. I think there's stuff keep coming out of it.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was just a basket. There's supposed to be endless fruit that comes out of it. That's how that works. I didn't know. Interesting.
But you only start off with 5 loaves and 2 fishes.
Right. They were able to feed over 5,000 people. So that's a miracle, because clearly that's not something that's possible. Like you look at 5 loaves and 2 fish, that runs out real quick.
I guess like you say, Yahushua looked up to the heaven and the Most High, heard his response and accumulate more in the basket for his life.
That's right. That's what he did. Come. Blessed are your eyes for they see it, your ears that they hear it, right? And that this same power that gave them this ability to do such, the same spirit moves us right now to do great things. You know, it just really depends on our faith.
Like the quail and the manna, just, wow.
Yeah. Most High can do it. Yeah. Con. So with this section, this also from 15, with Matthew 14, verse 15 down to 21. This is also, you can read this in Mark chapter 6 as well.
Matthew 14.
So link 15 verses 15 to 21, this whole story about feeding the multitude.
Mhm.
So you can link it with Mark chapter 6, 32.
Mhm.
And you can go all the way down to about verse 44.
44.
Yeah. So Mark chapter 6, 32 down to 44. Goes into that the same record, the same history of this event. And then it's also another gospel. You can link also with Luke chapter 9. Luke chapter 9, verse 10 down to 17. Once again, Luke chapter 9, 10 to 17. Also linking with this section we're reading in Matthew 14.
And we go with Matthew 14 to 21.
Mm-hmm. Matthew chapter 14, verses 15 to 21. And then one more, you also read this in St. John as well, about this miracle. St. John chapter 6, verses 1 all the way down to 13. So, we know the Most High can do all things through the Spirit. Through the Spirit, he can affect the physical realm and do things that we would deem impossible, right? From feeding thousands to stopping the sun in the sky, right? Giving us the spirit of might to jump over walls and break bows of steel, kill, wild animals, predators that, normally would best a man. But now through the Spirit, we can best them. This is us in our best form when we're in the Spirit. We can do great things through the Most High. And it's our faith that allows it to happen. That's what Christ is trying to show us. So we have this power just waiting to be tapped into when the time is right. So back to Matthew chapter 14. Let's read on in verse 22. So Mark chapter 14, verse 22, it reads, "And straightway Jesus, or Yahushua, constrained his disciples to get into a ship to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone." Right? So Christ got some QTing with the Most High, right? Just him and the Most High alone, right? So he went off to a mountain to pray. Now, you see, going to a mountain or going to a high place isn't always wicked. We talk about going to high places, you see in scriptures. It's like some king is going to a high place to do what? Do some idolatry, right? That's what they took down the high places, but no, he went to a high place to deal with the Most High, the true and living God. It's like Moses went to a high place, right? Communing with the Most High, being given the 10 Commandments, right? the thunderings and lightnings. Well, I think he knew. He just manifested himself to him for a particular purpose. Because the Hebrews, they knew the stories. They knew where they came from. They came from Jacob and the 70 souls that came into Egypt.
But Moses, when he first went up there, he more or less in the courage. He was courage that find out about the burning bush. You know, they see him a long way away. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that burning bush was taking that curiosity to go up.
Mm-hmm.
Find out, you know, what that burning bush was representing.
Right.
That's how he found out that the Most High, who's that Most High Yahweh Shah there?
The Most High speaking to him, but you could say Yahweh Shah was present, because anytime the Most High speaks, that's Yahweh Shah anyway. He's the word. So, reading on, this is Matthew 14:24. So, they're still in the ship, but now he came to the land to pray. It says he was there alone when the evening came in. It says, but the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. Right? So they got a little disturbance, right? A little turbulence there in the water, right, with the storm going. It says, in the fourth watch of the night, so when we took out the Roman time frame, we dealt with 3 watches of the day, usually 4 hours each. 6 to 10, 10 to 2, 2 to 6. They broke it into 4. So they had 6 to 9, 9 to 12, 12 to 3, 3 to 6. And the same thing for the
4 watches.
The nighttime.
4 watches at night.
Right. You can look that up, and the Zondervan goes into that. 6 to 9, 9 to 12, 12 to 3, 3 to 6. So pretty much the 4th watch of the night, it's like early in the morning at this point. Right. You know, between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. But now they're hit with this storm, so it's like a late night storm.
Make sure that storm don't really.
Well, let's see what happens. The ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went unto them, walking on the sea. Here's a famous Christ walking on water. And you see, even to this day, you know, they try to simulate this. You see guys on the left-hand pad trying to do this with these magic tricks, and you know, and they always have to refer to Christ. Christ walked on water. Watch me do it. You know, and they use some kind of trickery to do it, right? Some kind of deception. Or you'll see it even in movie references. You know, people walking on the water, and they look down, and they're like that pride, right? Like, yeah, I'm doing it too. You know, but I'm doing it my way. We know Yahweh Shah is famous for this, for walking on water, right?
It's in a movie, right? He's walking in the water, you know? Walking in the water, but here he's walking underwater.
Yeah. There's even if you check out like certain kids movies, there's a movie called The Incredibles, about this superhero family. There's this little scene that's kind of funny, where the son, he's got like super speed, like the Flash. He's running on, and like he's running away from these bad guys, right? He's running through the jungle, and he gets to a clearing where there's water, and like he thinks he's gonna sink. He just keeps running. He looks down. He's like, he's going so fast. He's like treading the water. And like he does like a little quick laugh, and it, like starts running on the water. So it's like, I don't know what they're doing with that, but it's just those little things kind of funny sometimes. But nonetheless, you know, whether it's the right way or the wicked way, you got people who want that power. They want to be on the level of Christ. You know,
Trying to explain how we did it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it says, he went out unto them walking on the sea. 26. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, it is a spirit, and they cried out for fear. So imagine this, you know, late at night, early in the morning, waves rustling. You see this man coming towards you on the water, walking towards you, right? He's just walking around on top of the water. What would you think? Right? So they said, oh, it must be some kind of ghost, right? Some kind of apparition, spirit.
Right.
Because, you know, when it's a spirit, you take it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've never seen it. They've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
Right. Or it's not something that you see that's common. They knew about spirits, you know, and things that, because, you know, so we read about the miracle, we know things the Most High can do, but when it happens to you directly, it can startle you. Even for the prophets that know, okay, I know about the chariots, I know about the angels, but then when you come and they visit you, it's like, oh, what's going on? Is this for good or for bad? Am I about to be destroyed?
Right, you don't know.
Something I did that was wrong? What's going on? Kind of like with Joshua when he was visited, or like Daniel or any of the prophets, you know, or prophetesses.
Well, I believe that, you know, they hear about it, but and when they face with the situation, then they become afraid because they don't know what might come of it.
Mm-hmm. So let's find out. Let's see what they do. It says they cried out for fear, verse 27, but straightway Yahushua spake unto them, saying, be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. Verse 28, so he calms them, right? He says, it's just me, it's okay, don't be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And this is powerful stuff here too. Check this out. 28. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. Right? You know, with Peter, he's you know, he's finding his way, right? We see that Peter's finding his way, and we know, based on his example, we know what Christ is going to use. He's going to use him to be that rock for the church. So you see, he wants to make that step to do what Christ is doing, right?
Right. That's what he was saying.
Because a lot of things just start with an idea. If someone just even says something to you, sometimes you won't even consider it before. When someone gives you an idea or even paints a picture, just that thought gets your gears working. Like, man, okay, you can do this. I can do it too, right? So many things start from ideas, great things and horrible things at the same time. Start with ideas, right? Or just seeing something, seeing a vision, or having a concept, or you know, and your brain begins to work on, okay, how do I do this? By what means do I achieve this? So he sees Christ doing it,
right.
And him being a follower of Christ, he wants to do the same. It says in verse 29, he said, come. So he said, yeah, come on over, right?
Right.
And when Peter was come out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. So Peter was walking on water too.
Right.
See that? He had the faith, he saw it, and he visualized it, he wanted it, it happened.
Right.
He's walking on water, just like Yahushua.
Right.
Verse 30, but when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me. So he got so far, and then he started looking around, and he was in that newness of life, for a moment, walking on that water. But then, just like with us, the old man is still there, the flesh is still there. This doesn't make sense. Look at this storm. Look at the water. Oh, it's so horrible. Oh. Now the faith is starting to dwindle.
We lost the faith.
Now he's starting to sink into the water. So now he calls out to Christ to save him. 31. This is an interesting story because it's literally happening, but it just has a lot of symbolic meaning behind it. Something that we can all look to when it comes to anything we're faced with. When we're going above and beyond what would be considered the normal thing, or the norm, to try to achieve new heights in the spirit. That when we begin to walk on water, so to speak, figuratively, that we stay the course and we stay encouraged, that we don't allow the naysayers to dampen our faith, or to tell us that what we know now is possible, even though we may be the first to do a certain thing, that we still stay on the course and see where it ends up. We don't deviate or stop and go, oh, it's this. I thought I could do it. It's not going to work, right? You haven't even gone through all the steps yet. Just keep going. You'd be surprised what might happen.
Yeah, sometimes if it start to get bad out there, and brothers teachers they start to get bad, and you see cops are, the cops start locking up our brothers, and handcuffing them and taking them away or beating them down and stuff like that, Some brothers might get like, oh man, you know,
I wouldn't have
get scared, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, what about all the times before when they haven't laid a hand on us? Why can't the Most High do that now? And if they do lay hands on us, it's for a purpose, right? They may take us somewhere where we can deliver someone else. That's what happened to the forefathers of old. They got locked in prison. They taught in prison. The Most High broke them out of prison at times, right? When they were locked in prison by an angel, right? Or by a loud sound. It was like a ringing. Remember that time when was it Peter or Paul that was in the prison, and then like he was talking to the guy who was the guard, and there was a rumbling, and the whole thing broke open. And you saw the guard was ready to take his own life because he's like, oh man, they're gonna kill me once they see what happened. And he stopped him and said, hold on, it's okay. This is this is beyond the authority of the Romans. What's happening here?
You know, we're all here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, none of us like escape or anything like that. We're all here.
Right, because he's thinking once the boss comes back and he sees the cage open and the prisoners left, gotta deal with you. You supposed to be guarding the cage. What happened? Guarding the prison. Mm-hmm. So in verse 31, again, it says, and immediately Yahweh shall stretch forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? Right? So like a cautionary tale, right? To say, you were doing the right thing. Don't deviate. Stay with that faith. Continue with it, right? And you wouldn't have sunk. 32. Oh, sorry.
You know, like, okay, lose a little faith because Christ is here. You know, Christ is here with you. You know, He's not gonna make you drown or anything like that. You know, He's right there. You know.
Mm-hmm. And what Peter was doing, that was his faith that allowed him to do that, right? To walk on that water. So if Christ wasn't there, and the situation presented itself to walk on the water,
You couldn't believe that after a while.
with that same faith, not seeing Christ, it can still be done. That's the power that we have through the Holy Spirit. Verse 32, and when they were come into the ship, the wind ceased. Then they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, of a truth, thou art the Son of God. So, not to say they didn't know already, but it's like confirmation, extra confirmation. Like, yeah, he's the one. Because I mean, after seeing something like that, a man has come out in the water, and you just don't see that. Even now, you see that now, and people automatically got stories. They go, oh, they had a prop underneath the water. They got a glass, like a glass shelf or something underneath the water that he was walking on. It's a CGI, they photoshopped it, they used some kind of, illusion to do it. No illusion here, though.
All the game sayers.
So for this section here from 22 all the way down to it gets down to 33. You could also link this. This is also found in Mark as well. Mark chapter 6. Uh, 45. Mark chapter 6 kind of has a number of these things that we find here.
45.
That we find here in Matthew chapter 14. So Mark chapter 6, 45, and down to 52.
From what chapter? 21 to 33.
22 to 33.
22 to 33.
Yeah. So 22 to 33. So Matthew 14, 22 to 33. Link it with Mark chapter 6. You could link it with Mark chapter 6, 45, all the way down to 52. then be on the ship with the storm, and then walk on the water.
Mhm.
It's funny because I don't know, at least the depictions I remember seeing with these Christian movies, you know, the greatest story ever told. They show this instance here. Every time I remember seeing it on TV, you know, with the so-called white people playing us.
Mhm.
I always see the seems like the water's always calm. It's at night, but he's like walking on it when it's like there's no storm. He's walking on it, and it's just like even keel, like a still lake. Well, that's not accurate. It was windy out, and even with the wind and the rough water, he's still walking.
Only see like that at night. That's when the terrorists come in. You know, as far as the ships, the wind, everything. You know, everything starts going ungodly. You know what I mean? And the ship would be trying to be rocking and stuff. You know?
So at nighttime only.
Basically at night. I ain't never see too much in the daytime.
I don't know.
Storm?
I thought storm could happen anytime.
I mean, it happen any time, but basically they show them on movies it happen at night.
The tsunami. Tsunami just came and like, you know, daytime. The beach goes around the beach.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case all the time. So also, not only also with Mark chapter 6, 45 to 52, you can also link it with St. John chapter 6. So just write down St. John chapter 6.
Mhm.
15 down to 21. So St. John chapter 6, verses 15 to 21. You could also link with Matthew 14, 22 to 33.
Mhm.
Walking on water. Like you were saying, y'all, come on, just imagine, you know, if you were one of those disciples, you were there. Or imagine if you were Peter, you came out yourself, right? It's kind of like
You walking.
it's like parents and children, right? Like when a child's learning to walk, and they first are getting their, you know, their footings. You got they see the parents do it all the time, right?
Right.
And then they're like, you know, oh, come on, Jake, you know, or whatever the boy's name is or girl,
Mhm.
come on, come to me, come to me. You see the child is like, you know, they're not really sure what they're doing. They just see their parent. They want to go to their parent. They're just kind of making their way. They're like, oh my God, he's walking, you know.
Mhm.
So Peter had one of those moments, right, with Christ.
Mhm.
He's walking on water. He's doing it, right? He's in the spirit. He's learning the power of faith. Come on. And then, you know, the kid looks around.
And the body
Oh,
behind him and you fall.
oh. Yeah, and he falls down because he forgot,
Mhm.
you know, that he was doing it. He was walking. She was walking.
Right.
I remember my son, yeah, when if they, you know, just focus on me, just could get it, you know, all his attention or her attention
Mm-hmm.
towards you, just come. And instead of looking around, you know.
You look around, that's when they
you know,
get distracted and they, might slip on something.
So my grandson, when he was that, he learned how to walk. He had like a gate top, but he was kind of planning to walk the steps. He got to have it climbing up the steps.
Mm-hmm.
He climbed all the way up there two steps. First time he didn't make it too much, you know what I mean? He crying and stuff. Second time, as he kept on going, he started, you know, accumulating more.
Yeah.
Up the steps, you know.
Come.
He got really, you know, really got more encouraged with himself, you know. But
That's
at first he really was afraid to go up the steps. But he had that curiosity in him that made him go, you know.
right. So that's the same with us. In the spirit, works the same way. But like little children down here on earth, Most High is trying to show us. You know what you can do. Let me show you my son. I'm gonna show him. I'm gonna show you what he does. Same what he does. Christ told us you could do that and more. That's where the Acts of the Apostles come in. Where Christ is gone, but then the apostles are representing. They saw the model that Christ left, and they said, okay. Now they start doing mighty things, right?
Right.
Healing the sick, cleansing the lepers, right?
Right.
Breaking, withstanding, animal attacks and all types of stuff that would normally kill any ordinary man or woman.
Mm-hmm.
It was standard. Yeah, exactly. So
That's what most they call us, children of Israel.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Learning the way.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Learning how to walk in the spirit. So good metaphor there. Good parallel there with the child learning to walk.
Mm-hmm.
So back in Matthew 14,
Mm-hmm.
verse 34 now. So Mark 14:34 says, and when they were gone over, they came into the land of Gennesaret.
Mm-hmm.
And when the men of that place had knowledge of him, they sent out into all that country round about and brought unto him all that were diseased,
Mm-hmm.
and besought him that they might only touch the hem of his garment. Sound familiar? Remember the sister with the running issue? No, not leprosy. She had the issue of blood, I think.
Oh, she had a blood problem.
Right.
Oh, she had blood.
12 years, right? So I think we were reading about that.
Blood.
We're reading about that when we did Leviticus, right? The other Sabbath. So they got that. They're saying that same thing. If I just touch the hem of his garment,
Right.
I can be healed.
Mm-hmm.
And as many as were touched were made perfectly whole.
Mm-hmm.
So that's beautiful right there.
Yeah.
But right. So with 34 to 36, this trip to Gennesaret. This is also in Mark chapter 6. I'll give you the verses. Hold on. So link with Mark. So link with Matthew 14, 34 to 36. Link that with Mark chapter 6. And I'll give you the verses. (53) down to 56. Mark chapter 6. Let me know when you have that. And I'll give you the 53 to 56. Mm-hmm. So powerful stuff here, man. Christ's ministry is one to be studied and considered and meditated on.
Mm-hmm.
How much he did in just about 3 years. He laid that foundation, but we still build upon that. So we'll pause here since we're at the halfway point. Looks like we're at like 12:16. So what we'll do is we'll pick up around 1:15. We'll take a break. So feel free to get something to eat. Obviously, something doesn't require heat since it's the Sabbath. And then we'll see everybody in a half an hour. So shalom, and we'll talk to you then.
Shalom.